Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. So, Naoya Inoue defeats Nonito Donaire by a 12-round unanimous decision to win the Muhammad Ali Trophy, and he unifies the IBF and WBA bantamweight titles. I've got to say, this was an excellent fight between Inoue and Donaire. Both guys put it all on the line, and it resulted in a really fan-friendly fight. Credit to both men for putting on a hell of a show. Both guys deserve a hell of amount of credit for the show they put on, and a round of applause for both guys, and especially Nonito Donaire. That man is an absolute warrior. 36 years old, multi-weight champion. He's been pro for 18-19 years. Hell of a career. A very long and tough career, yet he still performs the way he did. Credit to Nonito Donaire for making this an excellent fight. He made me eat crow because I felt he would get stopped in the mid-rounds, but he made the distance, and credit to him for showing tremendous heart. But also credit to Naoya Inoue for passing a gut test and having his chin checked. He passed both tests, and yeah, he deserves credit for the performance he put on. As a fan of boxing, I really enjoyed this fight. So before we get into it, credit to both men, utmost respect for both warriors. The fight itself was back and forth. I felt Nonito Donaire started really well. First 3 rounds, I felt he did really good. He actually pushed Naoya Inoue back. His punch output was greater than we are used to seeing. He was using his jab a bit more than what we're used to, and he was finding a home for his overhand right. And that punch was successful for Nonito Donaire throughout this fight. You know, he was countering Naoya Inoue's low jab hand from very early on with the overhand right. And that punch gave Donaire a lot of success throughout this fight. You know, before this fight we were speculating, or a lot of people were speculating, including myself, how open Inoue was for the left hook, but Donaire wasn't really throwing it that much, or as often as we're used to seeing. He was really, utilising that overhand right, and like we say, it gave him a lot of success in this fight. And the first 3 rounds, I actually felt Donaire was doing really well, maybe 2-1 up after 3. He was pushing Inoue back and having a lot of success. Inoue himself was landing good shots. His counter left hook, by the way, was actually quite effective. He was catching Donaire when he fell short with the left hook, and he was having success, but after 3 rounds, I felt Donaire was doing the better work. After the 3rd round, I felt Inoue started to box a lot better. He was using his jab a lot more, and especially after round 4 actually. But yeah, Inoue came back into it, picking some really good shots, catching Donaire with some heavy punches. And, it looked like Inoue kind of regained control in the middle rounds. He was the guy who was throwing more punches. Like I said, the jab was quite effective. He was getting some nice right hands in, some nice right uppercuts, and also the left hook. So it looked like Inoue was starting to take control. In fact, in round 5, I believe Inoue hurt Donaire with an overhand right. Again, countering the jab of Donaire with the overhand right. And in round 5, Donaire was certainly hurt. And again, that was another punch in this fight that was a big factor. Inoue's overhand right was also quite effective. There was a few times in this fight where he timed Donaire's jab and he landed some good overhand rights. But yeah, round 5, Inoue hurt Donaire, and in a lot of the middle rounds, I felt Inoue was taking over. But, like the warrior he is, Nonito Donaire is not going to take no for an answer. He's going to fire back. And I believe it was round 8, 9 or 10. Donaire came back with a really strong round. He hurt Inoue with an overhand right. Again, we mentioned that earlier. That was a key punch for Donaire in this fight. But he had Inoue holding on. And, one of those rounds, Donaire really had a lot of success. He landed some big power shots, a few left hooks to the body, the overhand right to the head. And Inoue, at times, was looking a little I wouldn't say panicked, but he certainly realised he was in a tough fight. And going into the championship rounds, this fight was very close, Both guys were having success. Both guys had taken a fair amount of punishment. Donaire's face was quite bruised, and Inoue had a cut over his right eye and a bloody nose. So both guys were feeling the pace. Both guys sustained damage. And going into the last 2-3 rounds, it felt like it was a fight that was up for grabs. But credit to Inoue, I felt he really closed the show strong, That's a sign of a great champion. That's a sign of a warrior when you're in a tough fight and you close the show out really strong. And he did that. Round 11, he had a really good round, landing hard power shots to the head. He had Donaire hurt, and he switched to the body with a left hook, and that shot really hurt Donaire. A delayed reaction, but he went down and he took a count. He just about beat the count. I felt the count was very long. I felt Donaire got the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I miscounted, but it felt like he was down for a long time. Donaire beats the count from that left hook to the body, and he sees out the round. But in round 11, Inoue really regained control of this fight, and he closed round 12 out really well as well by landing some hard power shots on Donaire. Rounds 11, rounds 12, Donaire was fading, and I think we can expect that from a 36-year-old man who's had a long career and who's making bantamweight. So credit to Inoue for closing the show. I didn't score this fight, but I felt Inoue was the clear winner. I felt he did more than enough, and he wins the Muhammad Ali Trophy. He wins the World Boxing Super Series. He unifies the IBF and WBA bantamweight titles, and he picked up a really good win on his resume. Inoue was fighting a bigger man who could punch, and he really passed a gut check here. He passed his chin check. So credit to Inoue for getting through this fight and defeating the bigger man. Good win for Inoue. His career goes onwards and upwards. I would like to see him unify against somebody like Nordine Oubaali. Oubaali holds the WBC bantamweight title, and he actually beat Inoue's brother on the undercard, Takuma Inoue. So, that could be a good fight for Naoya Inoue. I would like to see that one. Or even Naoya Inoue versus Luis Nery. That would be a great fight. A fight that the fans would love to see. Stylistically, that would be a barn burner. So Inoue versus Luis Nery is a great fight as well. So Inoue has options, and credit to him for getting this win. As for Nonito Donaire, again, I would like to reiterate, the man is an absolute warrior. He was hurt a few times in this fight, and he did really well to get up from that body shot. The guy's had a great career, a multi-weight champion, a former pound-for-pound fighter. Donaire has fought anybody and everybody, so the guy is an absolute warrior. He has my utmost respect. Where does he go from here? I mean, if I'm being honest, I would like to see him retire, to be honest. Maybe have one more homecoming fight in the Philippines and then retire against a lower level guy. I think he deserves one more easy fight to go out on and, to go out with a win. But will he retire? Time will tell. I didn't check his post-fight interview out, so I'm not sure whether he will retire or not. But regardless, Donaire, he has had a great career. And once he retires, hopefully people realise what a gem this guy was. He fought some great competition, had some really good wins. So fair play to Nonito Donaire for really putting it all on the line, even at 36 years old. The guy has my utmost respect, and he's certainly a credit to the sport. If more fighters conducted themselves like Nonito Donaire, we would have a better sport. It's just that simple. And again, credit to Inoue for, winning a really tough fight. As a boxing fan, I enjoyed this bout. I feel like I won as a fan. And ultimately, this is why I follow the sport. These are the type of fights I want to see. And by the way, this was a low-key fight of the year contender. It was a really, really good fight. So if you've not seen it, find a copy online and watch it. Definitely would recommend it. So there we go. Excellent fight. Credit to both guys. But yeah, Inoue wins the World Boxing Super Series and unifies the IBF and WBA bantamweight titles. Credit to both men. Share your thoughts below. Peace.